Okay, everyone. So where have we been since our last post? Let's just get a quick overview and see what's next. What's Bitcoin doing? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it ranging? Let's find out what's going on. So what have we got here? As of my last post, and we were around here, what had happened? We had distributed up here with the Mike Wyckoff model. We had dropped down, reacted off this. I believe that was a 2-hour supply. All right, that gave us a nice mark up, all the way up. And what's happened is we've basically retested this supply range. We've retested this supply range, we failed, and we've marked further down. We've marked further down and we've reacted off a zone. All right, I've removed these zones from my chart at the moment, but if you have a look and recap, you'll be able to see them. We've got remnants of one over here. If we drag that out, see that's an exact reaction. And obviously we could have, actually what have we been inside? We were able to enter a short from up here, and we entered a long from here. We missed this short, which is fine, and I'm currently in a long. I'm in a long from down here, and we can see that clearly. I can just give you a brief overview as to why I entered that trade actually. So that trade was here. It's nice. It's de-risked at the moment as well. So that trade is, I believe it's this one. Yeah. Okay, so why did I enter that position? Well, first of all, I saw the reaction of this zone, and as I saw that reaction of this zone, I was waiting for a break of the range or a change in market structure. So our structure looks like this. So on the 15 minute, we've got up, we've got down. Okay, and we sort of oscillated here. We broke down. And as soon as we broke down, we broke up. Okay, what did that do? That meant this whole region was a range. And as we broke out of that range, I was able to enter off that break. Now also what we see is we can see that market structure, market cipher was giving us a nice divergence at that level. And where was that divergence? This was a sneaky one, a sneaky divergence, because I almost missed it. But I thought, you know what, that is still a divergence, even though it's within a single wave. Let's go for it. So where was that? Well, we can see that as price is going up here, we can see that our momentum wave is going down. We can see that we recently had a money flow crossover, which means there's some more money going into the asset. All right, so we enter that trade. We're still in that trade. When I enter that trade, obviously my stop loss would have been somewhere down here to cover the previous low. However, I have taken profits. I've taken 75% out around here, and I've moved the stop loss to entry. So beautiful. We are playing with house money at the moment, and that's exactly how I like to trade. So what's happened since then? What has Bitcoin done since then? Well, I'm going to get rid of the last post. What it's done since then is it's marked up, However, if we think about it, if we think about our 4-hour structure, we've had, a mark up, we've had a change in direction, we've had a mark down, and then we've had a change in direction again. All right. And remember, for the past 2 weeks, I've been going on about this 10-minute supply that's above us. Are we about to test that 10-minute supply? Well, before we test that 10-minute supply, be aware that we've got all this inefficient price action over here. So all of this is inefficient price action, full of fair value gaps, which I'm sure Bitcoin is eager and keen to run. All right. So what's happening at the moment? Well, we're marking up towards that supply zone. And actually what's happened is we've set a range high. We've set a high point, okay? And we also seem to be setting a low of our range. All right, so we've got a high, we've got our low. So is this a new range that we are playing within? Is this a new range we are playing within? And what happens in a range? In a range, you rotate to the top, you rotate to the bottom, you rotate to the top, you rotate to the bottom. So is that what we are looking to get here? Okay, a nice range rotation. Okay, so what else should we be aware of? The other thing we need to be aware of is the fact that within that range, we have, we had our range, we had our breakdown, we had our retest, okay, and we've had a low, and perhaps we could put in a low here, a high here that can, take us further down. This could actually be an idea as to what Bitcoin is looking to do next. So I'm going to put that in green just so we can see that. I'm going to make that nice and thick. Within our range, this is what seems to be happening. Remember, we have, range high, our range low, and we're just sort of seeing internal price action at the minute. Okay, so TJ, what are your next trades? What trades are you looking out for next? Okay, the first thing I did is I noticed that we've got nice 15-minute supply zone up there within our range, hence why I've called it internal supply at premium pricing. It's at premium because it's kind of at the top quartile of that range. Also, we can see below that we've got a 45-minute demand, but inside that 45-minute demand, we also have a 10-minute demand within that 45-minute demand. So what I've done is I've dragged that across here, and I've moved that demand, I've moved it all the way down. Okay, so this is what we have locally at the minute. Right, so we have our range high, our range low, and our demand and supply in between. So where are we looking for our next trade? Well, for my next trade, I'm eyeing up this 15-minute zone. If we go on the 12-minute to get more internal structure, I'm eyeing up this 15-minute zone. And why am I eyeing up this 15-minute zone? I'm eyeing up this zone because this would be a nice place to get a reaction to continue further downwards. Okay, if we keep that internal range structure, because in the internal range structure we seem to be bearish. Okay, so that's a cool zone to get a nice short from. But what am I looking out for as I approach that zone? I'm looking for price to do something like this. As I approach that zone, lose that zone. Okay, so break structure, and as soon as we break structure, you have two options. You can either enter at that break, risky, or you can wait for a retracement leg and then a continuation. Okay, now this is the preferred method. This would be the preferred trade, but depends on your risk tolerance and sort of how much money you have to throw at it, and just your appetite at the time of the trade. So of course, what you could be looking out for at the same time is what is market Cipher doing? Are we printing a nice bearish divergence as we approach that zone? Okay, all right, that's the exact same thing we are looking for, not just at that level, but also at this level as well. The exact same entry criteria. Okay, so I'm a big fan of market structure, and I think market structure will show you most confirmations, most entries, but I'm sure you can use other confirmations like market Cipher. You can use your RSIs, your moving averages, whatever floats your boat. Okay, so that's my first trade. What's the second trade? The second trade is a 4-hour high setup. The 4-hour high setup is simply a retest of our 4-hour high. Remember, our 4-hour high comes up here. Okay, so we're retesting that range high. Now, if we retest that range high and we see something that looks like this, let's say we have, our candle coming up to that region. Let's make that. We could make that a bull bar. Yeah, our candle that looks like that, and then we get a wick off that level. So we get a wick off that level, not a close. All right, this will be a beautiful signal to enter that short. Okay, on the 4-hour. Now, if on a lower time frame, as we approach that level, we're seeing the same thing, a change in market structure from bullish to bearish, that will be a great place to enter, that short. So just watch that level and see what market structure does as you approach that level. Now, the reverse would be true for these lower zones. Okay, the reverse would be true for these lower zones. What lower zones am I talking about? Well, first of all, I'm talking about this 45-minute demand that we've got over here. And also I'm talking about this, internal low setup that we've got over here. Why is this an internal low setup? Well, it's an internal low setup because if you look at our, 4-hour structure in green, this is the high, this is the swing low. We're not quite at that swing low. If we put a line there, we're still in that internal structure. Okay. However, this is, if we look at our internal structure, if we consider this move, this would be the retest of this low over here. Okay, so that's my next place that I'm looking for a trade. Remember, guys, risk management is really important. Make sure you are not risking more than 1% of your stack. All right, if you want to be in this for a long time, if you want to be in this long enough to actually learn, what the market does, you have to be in the game long enough to play it. So make sure you're not risking more than 1%. I know it's tempting. I know it's tempting to enter, half of your account and just, double your account within a day. But that's not the way to do it. You will blow your bag. So just make sure you're risking, nothing more than 1%. Or 0.5%, and just play the game long enough for you to pick up the skills and learn what's necessary. So that's my current trade idea. We're obviously going into the weekend now, and I don't usually trade in the weekend, but I'm sure one of these will play out. So be cautious, make sure you're looking at these levels, and make sure you're practicing good risk management. All right, there we have it. I'm going to see you again on Monday, and let's see what the weekend and next week brings us. All right, have a good weekend.